let's talk about cervical cancer. It's the most common gynae cancer in Indian women, right? They have asked you what is the most common HPV type associated with CIN and cervical cancer, right? HPV, human papilloma virus, is the causative agent, right? And high-risk HPV DNA types are associated with pre-malignant and malignant lesions of the cervix, right? So which are two high-risk HPV types? HPV 16 and 18 together account for, 70% of cases. But if you have to pick one, then answer is HPV 16. Most specific is HPV 18. Okay. Now look at the risk factors, right? Now again, HPV infection is acquired by sexual contact. So the risk factors are early intercourse and childbirth, high parity. Very important, see, for cervical cancer, high parity is a risk factor, low socioeconomic status, and other situations or conditions which will increase the likelihood of acquiring HPV, like multiple sex partners, concomitant STIs, and HIV infection. Now also remember, when we talk about the HPV infection of the cervix, remember the pathophysiology is that most of the HPV infections that a woman acquires during her lifetime, they're actually going to cleared. They are going to get cleared. Body is going to get rid of it, right, by the immunity. But there will be certain times when the HPV infection becomes persistent, okay, and starts synthesizing oncoproteins, all right. So conditions like immune suppression, HIV, concomitant STIs also to an extent, they allow for persistent HPV infection. So you can correlate the pathophysiology and the risk factors accordingly, right? Smoking is a risk factor. Oral contraceptive pills are a risk factor for cervical cancer. Very, very important point to note. An extra one-liner pointers that have been asked in your exams. See, oncoproteins which are needed for viral replication are E1 and E2, and oncoproteins required for malignant transformation. And what do they target? They target the tumor suppressor genes, right? So that is E6, which targets P53 gene, and we have E7, which targets the RB gene, right? So these oncoproteins knock out these tumor suppressor genes, and that promotes the growth of malignancy and cancer, right? Also, potential questions, make a note. Most common histological type is squamous cell cancer, and that too large cell non-keratinizing type. Make a note of this, right? And the incidence of adenocarcinoma of the cervix, the one that is arising in the endocervical canal, is also increasing. It is associated with OC pill use, right?